Hi guys, welcome to another crochet tutorial with me, Laura, and as promised today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very simple granny square bag. It's a really easy project, suitable for beginners, and other than making lots and lots of granny squares, which I have been very busy doing, it's quite a simple and fun project. So for this project we're going to be using an Aran worsted weight yarn, and I happen to be using a Red Heart soft yarn, so it's not sponsored. So it's just an Aran worsted weight yarn, but you can use any brand of Aran worsted weight. So you can even use a different weight yarn if you want to. It'll just make a different size bag. But with the Aran worsted weight yarn, I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. That's a G crochet hook. And it's also a good idea to have a pair of scissors and a yarn tapestry needle as well for the sewing. So we're going to be sewing the squares together. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so in total we're going to be making 34 granny squares, but most of them are going to be white, and this is going to be for the edges and the handle of the bag. So we're going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green granny squares, and the same in blue as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 blue squares. And we're going to be making 2 of these 3x3 blocks of squares. And once we've made those, we're going to be making just plain white granny squares here. So this long strip of granny squares I got here. And this is going to go around the edge. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for each of the sides. So if you can just about see on camera, it will go like this around the edge. And then the remaining 7 squares, you can make more squares for a bigger handle if you want to. If I lift the camera up, the remaining squares will form the handle around the top. So I'm going to make, I need to make one more white square, but I suddenly realized that my background is very white today. So I'm actually going to make the sample granny square in a color so you can see it really well. So I'm going to take my Aran worsted weight yarn, and we're going to take the blue yarn. I think that shows up quite well. And our 4mm hook, and we're going to I'm just going to make a square completely in blue so you can just see the actual granny square nice and easy. So we're going to start off with a magic circle or magic ring or chain 4 loop. So I'm going to do a chain 4 loop because it's easier for beginners to see. So we do a little slip knot, and we're going to chain 4. So we chain 1, 2, 3 and 4. Put our hook into our first chain, bring the yarn through, straight through the loop on your hook to form a little loop. And then what we're going to do a little chain 1 just for leverage, and then into the center of that loop we're going to work a double crochet. So this pattern's in US terminology, so in UK terminology that's going to be a treble. So we're going to put our hook into the center and just wrapping it around the chains, we do a double crochet. Then we're going to do a chain 1, and we're going to repeat that so all the way around, but there's no stitches to work in, so we want 10 of these double crochets. So after your chain 1 we do another double crochet, so that's number 2, then we do another chain 1, then we do another double crochet until we end up with 10 double crochets and 10 chain 1s in between. So chain 1, then another double crochet, that's 4, chain 1 and another double crochet, 5, chain 1 and another one, 6, chain 1 and another one, 7, chain 1, another one, 8, chain 1. And this is a little bit fast for you. If you are an absolute beginner, then I do recommend checking out my absolute beginner crochet tutorials, then coming back to this slightly faster tutorial. And then another one, 9, chain 1. So how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want one more for 10. And then finish with a chain 1, and we're just going to, might be able to bring in the center a little bit by pulling your tail end. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. If you have trouble finding it, just look for the second double crochet in the stitch above. That was the chain 1 in between. So your next stitch is the one you want to slip stitch into. And slip stitch into there. Okay, so that's the end of round 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find that chain 1 space. So the space underneath, the big gap, we're just going to slip stitch into there. And then do a little chain 1 just for leverage. Don't count as a stitch. Then yarning over and going back into that chain 1 space, we're going to do 2 double crochet. So in UK terminology, that's 2 treble crochets. So put your hook into that big gap, then wrapping it around the chain, we do a double crochet, and we want 2 of those. So go back in there again, like so. And then again, like the first round, we're going to do a chain 1 in between, then find the next chain 1 space, and do 2 double crochet in there. 1 and 2. Chain 1 in between, and just repeat that all the way around. So next chain 1 space, 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. Then a chain 1. Next chain 1 space, just in the gap, 2 double crochet, and then chain 1. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around back to the beginning. So just coming back to the beginning, don't forget that last chain 1 space. It's easy to miss. And again, 2 double crochet, and then finishing on a chain 1. And then again, we're going to find that first double crochet and slip stitch into there to finish the second round. So that's the second round, and then we're going to do one more round in this color. I'm going to do the whole square in blue, but I just want to tell you where to change from the color to the white. So we're still continuing with the color at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a little chain 1, then yarning over and going into that same stitch as your previous slip stitch. So go back into that double crochet again. I'm going to do a half double crochet this time. So yarn over, pull through all 3. In UK terminology, that's a half treble. So 1 half double crochet in there. Then in the next stitch, we do half double crochet. Then in the chain 1 space, we do 2 half double crochets. 1 and another one in there, 2. So 2 in there. And repeat that all the way around. So in the next stitch, the next double crochet, we do a half double crochet. Then in the next stitch, we do a half double crochet. Then in the chain 1 space, in that big gap, we do 2 half double crochets. Like so, and just repeat that all the way around. Half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, 2 half double crochets in the chain 1 space. We're still using our colour. Okay, so I shall do that and then I will come back. So just going up to the last few stitches. So 1 half double crochet in there, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then the very last chain 1 space, don't forget 2 half double crochets. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet to join the round. That's the end of round 3. So you should have a perfect circle shape, and this is where we would stop when making the coloured squares. So after round 3, we stop and change to the white color. Obviously you can use any colors that you like and formulate them how you want. So, but when working the colored squares, the green or the blue, after round 3, we're going to move to using the white. But for the sake of this video, because I have a very white background, I'm going to continue with the blue because it shows up better. Obviously with the plain white squares, you just make the whole square in white. So imagine this is a plain white square, but it's just blue. So we're going to move on to round 4, and we're going to start off with a little chain 1 again. Then in the same stitch we just slip stitched into, we're going to do a single crochet. So in UK terminology, that's a double crochet. So we go straight in there, do a little single crochet, then we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, and a single crochet in the next stitch. So the first 3 stitches are single crochets. Then in the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet or half treble in UK. Then in the next stitch, we do a double crochet, or in UK, a treble. Okay, this is when we're going to start turning a circle into a square. Then we're going to chain 2 for our corner. Then in the next stitch, we're going to do the same but in reverse. So in the next stitch, we do a double crochet or treble. Then in the next stitch, we do a half double crochet. Then in the next 6 stitches, we do single crochets. The next 6. So in the next stitch, single crochet, 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4, next stitch, 5, next stitch, 6. Okay, so in the next 6 single crochet, then we're going to repeat the corner. So our next stitch is a half double crochet, next stitch is a double crochet, then we chain 2 for our corner, do that in reverse. So in the next stitch, a double crochet, next stitch a half double crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. So I'm going to repeat this all the way around. So 1, these are just single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we start the work on our next corner. So a half double crochet, next stitch double crochet, chain 2, and do that in reverse, double crochet, half double crochet, then 1 single crochet in the next 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then our last corner, so again next stitch a half double crochet, then a double crochet, we chain 2, then next stitch double crochet, then a half double crochet, and then you should have 3 stitches remaining, and then obviously matching your first 3 will equal 6. So 1 single crochet in the last 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet to join the round. So that's the end of round 4, and you can see it's starting to look more like a square. It's still a little bit rounded, so we're going to do one more round, and then we're finished. So we're going to chain 1, and in the same single crochet you just slip stitched into, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2, so 2 half double crochets, and then we're going to skip 1 stitch. Then in the next stitch we do 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, we'll do that again. We skip one, then in the next stitch, which is actually the last stitch before your corner, we do 2 half double crochets, like so. And then on your corner in the 2 chain space, we're going to start doing double crochets. So we go into the big gap now and do 2 double crochets to begin. 1 and 2, so 2 double crochets, and chain 2 for a corner, and then again going back into the chain 2 space again, another 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, so in total you got 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, all in that 2 chain space. Then we're going to go back to our half double crochets, but again we're going to skip one, and sometimes that first double crochet is hidden, so make sure you don't miss it. Skip one, then in the next stitch 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2, and do that all the way across to the next corner. Skip 1, 2 half double crochet, 1 and 2. Do that again, skip 1, 2 half double crochet, 1 and 2. Do that again, skip 1, 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet. So skip 1, 2 half double crochet, then skip 1, 2 half double crochet, and it should be in that last stitch before your corner. If it's not, it probably means you've missed that first one. So skip 1, 2 half double crochet, then we are at our next corner, and then the 2 chain space, same again as here, 2 double crochet, chain 2 for your corner, then another 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. Okay, so we're going to repeat that all the way around. So now we go back to half double crochets or half trebles. Skip 1, 2 half double crochets. Do that all the way across to the next corner. So I will do that, and then I will come back, skip 1, 2 half double crochets, and then our square is complete. Skip 1, 2 half double crochet, or maybe I'll just keep doing it on camera with you guys. So I'll be doing it anyway off camera. So skip 1, 2 half double crochet. But obviously if you've got the general idea, you can skip ahead to the forming of the bag. Skip 1, 2 half double crochet in that last stitch. So we use half double crochets or half trebles on the edges, and in the corners we do double crochets. So again in that 2 chain space, do 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, all in that chain 2 space, or in UK terminology, trebles, like so. Then we're back to half double crochet, so we skip 1, next stitch 2 half double crochets. I'm nearly finished. Skip 1, 2 half double crochets, skip 1, 2 half double crochets, skip 1, 2 half double crochets. Oops. One more time, skip 1, 2 half double crochets, which takes us to the next corner, our last corner. So again in there, the 2 chain space in the big gap, wrapping it around the chains, we do 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. And I'll put the written version of this on my website at happyberry.co.uk if you want to get the written pattern. So nearing the end, again we go back to the same thing here. We skip 1, 2 half double crochets, so back to our half doubles or half trebles in UK, and one more time we skip one, in the second to last stitch 2 half double crochets, and then you should have 1 stitch left. We're just going to skip that and slip stitch in our first half double crochet. So slip stitch to join, and that is the end of our square. So hopefully you shouldn't really have to block these squares because the yarn is quite thick compared to the hook size. So hopefully they'll be nice and stiff, which is great for our bag. But if not, and you want to block these and help them keep their shape, all you need to do is just you can use an iron, a steam iron, maybe not straight onto acrylic because acrylic can melt if you're using acrylic. But we just make the granny square a little bit damp, and then we pin it into place. Then let it dry, pinned into place, and then it should keep its shape once it's dried. But have an experiment. I never block anything. I'm super lazy, so you can always follow me and not block. But so what you need to do is we need to make a lot of these squares. So just repeat this pattern, and we need 2 lots of 3x3. So two lots of 3x3 for the front and the back of the bag. So, and again, I mixed up the design. I did starting with green on the outside, this one, and blue on the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue and 9 green. Okay, so 9 blue, 9 green. And for the strap, I just kept them plain white. So, and I made a lot of these, and you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and one more 16, because I need to make one more white one, but I ended up doing blue so you could see on camera. So 16 plain white, or any colour that you like really, is just to go round the edge here and to create the handle. Okay, so I'm just going to make my very last white square, and I'm going to come back and show you how I sew them together, how I've been joining the squares, and then yeah, hopefully show you the finished bag at the very end as well. Okay, so I've finished making my very last square in white, and hopefully maybe at this point you've made all your squares as well. So the first thing I did was for the edges, well, I made these 2 3x3 blocks and just sewed those together. So you've got 2 of those, and with all the edge squares I individually sewed them into basically a long scarf, so this could work as a granny square scarf as well. And then I'm going to sew nice and easily all the way around the edge, hopefully. But I'm going to show you the sewing method that I used for all of these squares. So hopefully you can see okay with the white. I take a short length, well, this is actually a bit long, but take some yarn. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the 2 chains on the corner. And the edge we're going to sew along, I'm going to pick the chain on the left. I'm going to go right down the middle. So we're going to go right down the middle, and then just bring your thread, your yarn through. And annoyingly, I've picked a very, very long. It's because I was planning this for the edge. So, and then leave a little bit of a tail end. Then we're going to find the edge we want to sew to, and again find the 2 chain space. The 2 chain space, the 2 chains on the corner, and we're going to pick again the one on the left because we're going to be sewing it this way. We're going to come through the middle. Oh, why did I pick such a long piece of thread? Okay, and I'm just going to reinforce that by going through it again just to secure into place. So again, I'm going to go through the bottom one and then the top one, just through the middle of those 2 chains on the left hand side. Okay, and then that just pulls nice and tight and just keeps it secure, and we'll hide that tail end at the end. So now we're going to work along these 2 edges, and we find the next stitch, and again we're going to go through the middle. So we're going to go underneath that top loop, then find the corresponding stitch, and again come through the middle. So the bottom one, so the top and the bottom is what we're sewing it together. And get get the hair out of the way, that's nice. I'm sure you can relate to that. And my tail end is in the way. And we're going to do that all the way across. So we find the next stitch and go for the middle, and the next stitch, go through the middle, and we sew those two together. And that hair really doesn't go away hair. I'm sure you can relate to that with animal hair, dog hair, human hair. Oh, the constant problems of being a crocheter. And again, do that again for the next stitch. We're going to do that all the way across up to the other corner. And just going through those two stitches. So we're catching the top stitch of the bottom square and the bottom stitch of the top square. Okay, so I'm going to just repeat this all the way across, and then I shall come back, show you the other side. You can start to see how that joins really nicely. Oops. Okay, so just coming up to the 2 chains on each corner, and hopefully all the stitches have matched up. And we're just going to go into the one on the right hand side, so this first chain space, and find the corresponding one on this side as well, which is just there. And they're going to be our last stitches that we're going to sew together. And just to reinforce it, I'm going to go back through the bottom chain space, turn the project over, and then just hide at the tail end by just sewing through some of the stitches to secure into space, into place. Okay, and then we can cut our yarn. And we can hide our tail end, our first beginning tail end, but this is what the joining looks like. It looks very neat, very nice. So I'm going to hide this tail end, and then what I'm going to do, once you have got all your side squares, so again, how many do we have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we've got 16 edge squares. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew along here, and then I'm going to sew along here for the next 3, and then sew along here for the next 3, and join it with the other side of the bag, making sure we get the right side. And again, repeat that all the way around. And then we leave our handle nice and free, but we want to join and sew the edge, basically these two together, to make a very, very big loop like that. Then we should have our bag. So I'm going to do a lot of sewing now, and then I'll come back and show you the finished bag. Okay, so I've finished sewing along here, and along here, and then I just went over and joined the other side here, and along here. So you end up using the plain white squares as the sides and the bottom of your bag. And then we have all these remaining, you can see, we have all these remaining squares. So I've left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares, but you might want to have a longer handle or a shorter handle. So this is just my preference, and all that's left to do now is to join this square with this square to form one big loop of granny squares. So I'm just going to finish sewing this square, and then the bag is complete. And there we go, I've finished the very last bit of sewing, just joining those last 2 squares. And that's the finished project. The finished bag is done. So all that's left to do now is to test the bag. So I'm going to stand up and hope that the handle is a good size, but obviously you can add more squares if you want a longer handle. But there we go, and now you can use it to, when you go shopping at, if you've seen my next video, we visited an alpaca farm and I bought this gorgeous alpaca yarn, so keep an eye out for that video. But it's perfect for oil shopping, and hopefully it won't fall apart with my sewing. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you managed to follow along and you'll give it a go. I'll put the written pattern on my website and I will see you soon for some more crochet creative fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.